I'm Eddie Bradley with Cressy Commercial Real Estate. We're here to talk about third quarter statistics for 2019. I have with me this morning Christian Davey, Jim Ringler, and Tim Mehall, all of whom will speak about specific sectors in the market. And I'm going to start with Christian. Christian's going to speak a little bit about industrial and some interesting things happening in that sector.
Thanks, Eddie. We're at this point in our lives in the industrial sector hitting some pretty good milestones, over 120 million square feet within both markets. So good time to be in the market. There's a lot of activity happening still, even though there's been a slight slowdown in Elkhart with their RV market. They're working through their oversupply and there's some good strides being made there. We're seeing still real robust activity, nothing that's on the market that stays long in that market. They're up just about 1% in vacancy and about $3.50 a square foot. Two deals I want to highlight, or two facts I want to highlight. One is in Elkhart County, we had a pretty significant assignment. We had about a 350,000 square foot space that was a long-term lease commitment with a company that is named Chastix. They were an OEM for Nissan. Their facility went dark. We had the opportunity to work with them, and in the end, we secured a great long-term type of occupant for the space that's going to be investing over $52 million, bringing 250 jobs of new type of jobs to the market, more in the automotive sector, which we think is great. So
congratulations, and that's diversifying the market just a little bit in terms of product type, or user, I should say.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly, and bringing back some of those old foundry workers to the area, which is good for us. The second thing I was going to talk about was just kind of where we're seeing things going in the future. And I'm kind of curious as to how Tim might feel about this, but the Amazon effect and a lot of these last mile facilities. We had an Amazon facility open up on the northwest side of South Bend now, and I'm talking to some of my counterparts throughout the U.S., and it's changing overall traffic patterns, commutes, and everything of that nature. So we're really starting to think that things are going to change. I don't know if it's going to become drones, but certainly we're going to see the brick and mortar shift a lot more on the retail side, and we'll see what happens with them all. That's what I'm kind of wondering on 10 things. But
cool. Well, that's an interesting topic we'll jump to in a second, but I wanted to touch on the Michigan, Southwest Michigan market with you, Jim. Tell us some interesting things
Thanks,
that are happening
Eddie.
there.
So I'm going to just highlight one deal that we did in the third quarter that is a pretty big deal. Whirlpool Corporation, we're fortunate to have them as their corporate headquarters in Benton Harbor. And of course, with worldwide corporations like that, they occupy a lot of office space. One of the deals that we had up there, actually the property was located in St. Joseph, Michigan, was one of their call centers. They took this call center and actually merged it into other call centers across the nation. So it left an 80,000 square foot building vacant. And so we took on that challenge of marketing that property, and we were also fortunate to have another client that has been growing tremendously over the last 5 to 10 years, and that's United Federal Credit Union. So we ended up putting a deal together between Whirlpool Corporation and United Federal Credit Union. They needed space. They are going to consolidate some of their operations into this 80,000 square foot building. It'll be a beautiful office building.
Nice.
And so that just happened to be a perfect fit. We were pleased to represent both sides of that transaction, and it worked out very well.
That's exciting when you have a product that goes dark and you think, you know.
Yeah, especially that size in a market
right,
that's
in
really
that sub-market,
small.
right.
Yeah,
so that's great, nice work. Tim, do you want to jump into some retail issues and maybe speak real briefly to what Christian was talking about?
Yeah, there hasn't been, I don't think there's been a lot that's changed on the retail market since the last time we reported. The Amazon effect is still there. The, I don't want to say sluggishness of the market, but there haven't been huge moves by people. Menards has tried to make a couple of moves. They did open a new store on the south side. They're trying to get a store relocated on the north side of Mishawaka. But specifically to your point, Christian, about the Amazon effect and how the last mile delivery deals are popping up, and it's rerouting traffic, and it's creating much more activity. You know, at some point there's going to have to be retail that's going to have to service that cluster of workers.
Yeah.
If all that traffic is coming in and out, it's not going to be large scale retail. It's going to be more service oriented retail. If it ever gets to the point where there are so many of those employees and they're looking to relocate closer to their employment, then you may see more of it start to pop up that's bigger than service, maybe some grocery store activity, that kind of thing. But the bulk of the activity still in the market has been really dialed in on user-oriented development, single user-oriented development, or small multi-tenant development.
Sure.
So we're just not seeing the kind of activity that we saw, 15, 20 years ago on a regional level.
Can you tell us a little about the Granger Station deal?
Yes, Granger Station was about a 9,000 square foot strip center out in Granger, right out in front of Martin's at State Road 23 and Adams Road. We had, PNC was with a branch, was an anchor in the center. They closed the branch and did not intend to renew, but they kept honoring their lease. The issue with that, it's nice that you keep getting the rent, but the biggest problem is you've got a dark space. So we had the center for sale. We were softly marketing the PNC space as well. We had a buyer occupant step up who had a use for the PNC space for his own optical operation. He bought the center, is in the process of building out his own space for his optical practice. So all of a sudden, we go from a bit of a quandary as to what to do with some dark space to it's almost a 100% leased and occupied center at this point.
I just wanted to close with a couple of notable things related to the investment and the development side of things. We've had some really interesting projects that Cressy's been involved with. First of which is an assignment that we worked on for over 4 years, and that is a tenant rep assignment for corporate relocation for Prescani Associates. It's been a really interesting and active search that's gone on for many years. It's culminated in a new building that's going up, about an 82,000 square foot corporate headquarters in Ignition Park in South Bend. So that's a commitment to downtown South Bend, which is great for the town and for the employee base. Another project up in Southwest Michigan in Benton Harbor, again another downtown project, one of the first and really significant projects in quite some time. Cressy's involved with the development there for Benton Harbor Flats, which is a new mixed-use project that includes 16 apartments downtown, as well as some ground floor retail office. We are just in the mix of beginning that redevelopment. It included some work with the state of Michigan as well as Benton Harbor and Cornerstone. So it's a true collaborative partnership effort that we're proud to be a part of. More on that as we get into the development, but that is a project that we finalized in third quarter. So with that, I thank you for your time, and we'll look forward to talking to you for fourth quarter.